Hello guys and girls, welcome back to another episode. Myself, LL Crypto, my good friend Edos. How you doing today?
It's always a pleasure to be here to discuss about all these passionate conversations about crypto.
Nice. So in today's episode, we're going to jump straight into the Bitcoin charts because last week we spoke about Bitcoin, its potential price, and it hit the money line exactly as we predicted last week. So we're going to jump into the charts in just a second, and maybe we can also look at Ethereum because Ethereum right now is basically almost going past its all-time high, and this is a catalyst for the next phase of altcoin season. So I don't know how you feel at the moment with the altcoins, Edo.
It's very interesting to see that the conversation that we had last time, everything happened just as you predicted. So it's really interesting as well to discuss what are the current trend of the market, because as we said during our previous videos, we are most probably in the last phase of this bull market.
Yeah.
So it's clearly very important to see what the indicators are telling us, and to see how Bitcoin dominance is falling out, or maybe how Bitcoin is trying to keep its dominance, but also to see how also the altcoins as well are trying really to rally as we are getting to this last phase of the crypto market.
Yeah. So just jumping over into Bitcoin then, we did mention last week the possibility of touching the 110,000, and we actually went below it. We went down to $108,600, but we've got this bounce, just as we said last week, that we had to, if we did dump, that 110,000 needed to act as support. The problem was if we went lower, if I just put a line there now just to show where we did go below it slightly, but as you can see, we got that nice bounce off it because we've got all of this key resistance just here. So we've got that nice bounce off it, and hopefully now we've got this V-shaped recovery. Yeah, okay, we've got it bang on the money here. So like I said, this was key resistance here and key resistance around here, 110,000. So the risk was if we went below it, continued below, then we could have easily flipped into a bearish sentiment. And the last line of defense, in my opinion, was down at like 102, 103,000, where that would have been maybe catastrophic for this bull run, maybe flipping into a potential early altcoin season, then it was going to be the end. So right now we're not out of the woods just yet, but we do have this nice V-shaped recovery. So I don't know what you think to this, Edo.
Clearly, it shows that even though we are not crypto experts, but our analysis also they are just they can show a certain glimpse into how the market trends are evolving. But also clearly for Bitcoin, it also shows that Bitcoin dominance is still strong. I don't know if you think that the fact that there is a bounce back for Bitcoin, it shows that Bitcoin dominance is still strong, or do you think that there is no correlation between the price market here and the dominance of Bitcoin?
It's interesting you should mention the dominance, because obviously now most people that are here for the altcoins, not for Bitcoin. And I looked at the dominance today, and it's pretty much stabilized. I don't know, maybe if I just look quickly on my phone just to give you an idea of where we are. Yeah, we're at 58.27%, so we're kind of stable. We're still in a downwards trend since we topped out at like 67, 68%, and now we're kind of stabilized with the dominance. But I do expect this to go even lower, so we just keep getting steps down and down and down. So right now Bitcoin is having this bounce, which is great for the market because we want Bitcoin to go a lot higher for more profits, to basically for more money flow to go down into the next altcoin, such as Ethereum first, which we'll talk about in just a second, and then the mid caps and the micro caps, which we spoke about in our latest video. Go and check that out with our explanation with the altcoins. But we'll talk about more about altcoins in just a second. But yeah, Bitcoin right now is having this V-shaped recovery. We have to jump past some certain levels for us to continue to remain bullish. I don't know if you can if you see some of these levels here, Ada.
Yeah, with this V-shaped recovery, I mean, what are the predictions? Could Bitcoin go as high as 120,000 US dollars?
Yeah, so for me, I expect to go, let me go back to it was a better on the daily. We've got these clear levels of resistance here. We've got one at 116. And of course, we've got one around 119. Then, of course, our top one at 124. So we've got these three levels to basically battle against. And as you can see, Bitcoin right now is another small level of resistance just here at 112,000. But I expect us to touch the 117,000, hopefully by the end of this week, so today and tomorrow, and then get a bounce off it. So start heading higher, basically.
So 117 will be another key line of resistance.
Yeah, so 117 for me would be the next clear line. So we need to head towards it, hopefully break it, and then over the course of Saturday, Sunday, get a nice bounce off it, and then we can start heading higher to that next resistance of 120 to 124,000. So just some small levels here, but we do clearly have this line here of key resistance. But I think going towards September. Usually September is a bad month. We spoke about that last week. So I expect us either to continue sidewards for the rest of this month. I mean, the Sunday is the last day of the month for August. Maybe over the next 4 days we do pump up here, but then in September we either go sideways. And most people are expecting September to be bad. And if most people expect something, it's usually the opposite that happens. So we could see a rare September where we do pump. But what I'm waiting for is October, November, December, where usually, historically, we do have huge movements to the upside. I mean, we've been in crypto for a long time, and we know October to December is usually the parabolic runoff.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting to consider this in terms of how the cycle repeats itself. But if September, if we do have a pump in September, then maybe the cycle will end sooner than expected then.
Well, we've actually entered like the banana zone of the phase, where if we go back, if we look at the weekly or even let's have a look. I think it's the monthly or the weekly. Yeah, we can clearly see. You can see how so this is like the banana zone where we're going to top out at very, very soon, I think, where we could explode to the upside to 150,000 and then have what do you call it, like what happened in 2017, 2018, a blow off top, where we do have that blow off top. Or do we have something similar with a double top, or maybe a triple top? Who knows? Nobody knows. The most important thing is to be in the game, in my opinion. Obviously, everything we say is not financial advice, but we haven't had an altcoin season. Ethereum has only just passed its all-time high, but it hasn't gone really past it. And so we're still in phase 2 with Ethereum. Then phase 3 with the mid caps and low cap, and then phase 4 would be the low caps to the micro caps. So we've only just started scratching the surface with all of these different events happening with crypto. So I don't think September will have a blow off top. I think if anything, it'll be December. Anywhere between October to December, probably end of November, early December, and then going into 2026, January, February, I think that's where we enter the next bear market.
I mean, one thing for sure, it will also depends on how long the altcoin season does last. I mean, in our previous video, we also say that the altcoin season generally is very short. So if you do happen to have a very long altcoin season, obviously it could also impact how high Bitcoin does go. But I mean, you could just expect Bitcoin to maybe just to remain sideways. This scenario is the most likely in my point of view.
For September?
Yeah, for Bitcoin to remain sideways, or at least to remain in between these two lines of resistance, like the 117 and the 109, to remain between these two lines of resistance. Because yeah, it's true. If Bitcoin should go higher than that, I mean, we can just see something as high as on 150. But it's kind of a little bit unlikely given the current phase of the bull market cycle.
Yeah. So last week we spoke about this inverse head and shoulders pattern, and it gives us a price target of 138, 140,000. So we've spoken about that last time. You can check that video out where we showed you this. But another indicator that I like to look at, if we go back to the weekly, I was looking, I don't know if you remember the Fibonacci retracement. So I was looking at this from the market bottom of this cycle to where we are right now, and it gives us a price target of 190,000. So we've got this blue level here where Bitcoin, and it's interesting because right at this point here, this is where we've topped out 124,000. So we've got this blue level here where, in my opinion, Bitcoin will top out anywhere between, I spoke about this last year, 120 to 150,000 was my price prediction, anywhere between that. But looking at this, I'm still sticking with 120 to 150,000, but potentially we could touch the 200K level by the end of this year. And then obviously Ethereum will probably double.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I think that it's more likely for Ethereum to double than for Bitcoin to reach the 200K level. But nothing is impossible in the crypto market. We've seen it times and times again. But I rather want to remain conservative as regarding the price of Bitcoin.
Yeah, so that's pretty much it for the Bitcoin price. So we've spoken about this V-shaped recovery. We need to break this line of resistance and then see what happens by the end of this week going into next week. We'll keep this line here so that we can talk about it next week as well to see if our prediction comes right. But moving over into Ethereum then, Ethereum right now, again, is trying to break past. So this is the weekly. Let's go to the daily. So we obviously formed our new all-time high of almost 5K, and Ethereum right now needs to break some levels, but I expect this to break pretty quick and Ethereum to go to 6, 7, 8,000 quite quickly. And then if you look at the rest of the altcoins, if we just go to the day, what we will see is Solana. Okay, we're up 4.5%. We've started pumping even for the week, the month, etc. And the top 10, top 20, etc. So what do you think to Ethereum at the moment?
I mean, I think that Ethereum, there is definitely something cooking up there. I feel like Ethereum has the momentum to really push past its all-time high. I mean, obviously, it has already reached the all-time high and even passed it last week. But if Ethereum had, I mean, then after Ethereum lost a little bit of its value earlier this week. But if Ethereum was as high at the beginning of this week as it were at the end of last week, then maybe we could just have expected a big rally of Ethereum right now. But going towards the end of this week, Ethereum is still gearing up to reach its all-time high again. But what will be key here is to see what happens over the weekend. Let's see. We'll see also what happens tomorrow. But I feel like between now and tomorrow, I'm not expecting much to happen. Maybe Ethereum will reach its all-time high again. But I think it will also be key to see what happens during the weekend. Because if during the weekend, Ethereum still manage to keep its momentum, then Monday, Tuesday next week, there will be a big rally for Ethereum.
So let's see. I mean, no, that's a bit old. I expect this, to over the next couple of weeks to go way past 5,000, and then we're going to enter that parabolic stage with the altcoins, and altcoin season is going to absolutely rip towards the rest of this year. So I think that's pretty much it for today's episode with especially Bitcoin, Ethereum. And in the next episode, we can definitely talk about the altcoins, what altcoins I'm interested in, maybe what altcoins you're interested in, or any altcoins that you've heard of lately that we could talk about. So let's see what happens with Ethereum and also clearly with Bitcoin. Let's see over the weekend if we, today, tomorrow, if we do pump towards 117,000, which would be very healthy for the short term. But I do expect over the next couple of months, we do touch that 150,000 US dollars. So if you're not in crypto yet, it's still not too late to jump into altcoins, which we'll talk about next. And but you have to stay safe. We are coming towards the end of this market cycle, so it's going to get pretty intense, pretty fast, and a lot of people, sadly, 95% are going to lose their money. So yeah, just be safe out there. If you don't know what you're doing, maybe just educate yourself before you jump into crypto. So thanks for this episode, and we will see you next time with another Bitcoin and altcoin discussion.